Hello there and welcome to the studio. My name is Matthew Palmer and we are here with Search Press. Search Press. I've been working with Search Press for 10 years, so we are celebrating. We're celebrating 10 years of Search Press. Give yourselves a pat on the virtual back, Mr. Palmer. You can do that. Give yourselves a round of applause. We could do that. Anyway, listen, we're here to celebrate 10 years, not only of working with the amazing book publishers that are Search Press, the biggest and best art book publishers in the world, but we are also celebrating the 10th anniversary of the first book I ever did with Search Press, which was this one, Watercolour for the Absolute Beginner. Now this book it's been around for 10 years, in fact just a little bit over 10 years now actually, and it's one of Search Press's best-selling watercolour books. It really is, and I'm really pleased and proud how successful this book has been. It's sold well over 100,000 copies over the past 10 years, which means it's educated thousands of people in watercolour painting, right? That's pretty amazing. Now, we do stick around because we are going to do some watercolour painting. I've got it all sketched up, ready. You can see it right here. We'll go through all that very shortly. So we've got all that here ready. But we need to talk about this because this is a biggie. Now, this book has not only been published for the UK market, it's been published in America, Canada, and in dozens and dozens of different languages. I've got one here and I can't even tell you what language it is. I'm hoping you can tell me what language it is. I've just dragged one from the shelf. I've got a copy of all the different languages of this book. Any ideas? Let me know in the comments. Got no idea. Got no idea whatsoever, but you can tell me. So it's been published around the world in all the different languages, which is wonderful. They've translated Derbyshire into this language. And look how the photo has changed. So this was the book from 10 years ago. That was a photo from 10 years ago. Chubby Cheeks Palmer. And then now we can officially unveil the brand new version, which has been released to celebrate the 10th anniversary. So the 10th anniversary edition of this is now available. And yeah, it's a special one because not only does it say 10th anniversary edition at the bottom, as you can see right there. In fact, let's have a look on the overhead camera. So not only does it say it's the 10th anniversary edition of the book here, it also says it on the back, 10 years of watercolour for the absolute beginner. And on the back it says more than 100,000 copies sold. But the thing is, we've not just gone back and just put a new front cover on this thing. That's not what's happened. Pretty much most of last year when I was working with Search Press, we've been back to create lots of new content for the new edition of the book. So it's very much a collector's edition. And it's available to order right now, and you can get this pretty instantly. Now what we've done, we've had a chat with the powers that be at Search Press. A big shout out to Hannah and James for sorting this out at Search Press. But we've actually got a bit of an offer. You can get 25% off this book if you order with the links in the description. So if you want to be one of the first people to get hold of this, the first edition, collector's edition, direct from Search Press. Now to make it even more special, I'll show you how to do that in a second. To make it even more special, the first 25 people that order a copy of this through the links, not through Watercolour TV, that's a different thing altogether. So if you've already ordered one from Watercolour TV, lovely, brilliant, excellent, thank you for that. But if you want to get hold of a special copy from direct from Search Press, then you can pop a code in, and the first 25 people who order a copy of this book through this little live watercolour demo will get a signed copy. I was down at Search Press last week, so I signed 25 copies, and they are down there waiting to be shipped. So do take advantage. It's a bit of a special thing, if I'm being honest. I'm really proud of this. We all are. We've gone back to the drawing board with this book. We've created new content for it. So it's a brand new front cover. This is the sort of new and old version side by side. This is the new version. Let's get a little bit closer in so you can see this. So it's got a huge collection of new content. We've increased the pages to 145 pages from 128. But it's not just that. We've redesigned it. We've added new projects, including the lovely Kingfisher project there. All gorgeous. I mean, this is what Search Press does, right? You know, all beautiful step-by-step tuition in the book from Search Press, and that's what they do well. You know, they are just experts at this. Beautiful bluebell wood there. All step-by-step projects, mountain scenes in there. It's a complete guide to watercolour painting, northern lights in there, snow scenes, all step-by-step, seascapes there. And then in the centre of the book, you've got these fold-out tracings, fold-out sketches. So these are actually relating to the project in the book. So there's 12 of these. Loads of new content, loads of new projects, including this windmill. There's a new project here. Lots of new tips. It's been revamped, refurbished, added new content, redesigned. It's a collector's thing. I reckon there's probably 45 to 50% new content in the book. I don't know, but that's what I'd guess. A lot of work went into creating this edition. And you get a different photograph of Mr. Palmer at the front. The new photograph versus the old photograph. Yes, so there you go. So that's what it is. Now listen, if you'd like to get hold of a signed copy, the first 25 people to order will get a special signed copy. It's literally released. Is it released tomorrow? I think it goes on public sale tomorrow. So it'll get shipped out tomorrow. If you've already ordered one from Watercolour TV, that'll take a few more days to get them to you. But if you want to get one from here, from Search Press, let me change screens to this screen here, because what we've got here is Mr. Palmer in a picture frame. Hello. But then over there, you've got information of how you can get hold of a 25% discount on this book and all of my watercolour books. So not only can you get 25% off the brand new 10th anniversary 100,000 copy version, first edition as well. It's the first edition, but you can get hold of it by using the code Matthew25, Matthew25. It's just up there on the side of the screen. So check that out if you want to get hold of it now. But remember, that's through the links in the description. That's through Search Press's website. That's not through Watercolour TV. That code will not work on Watercolour TV. And to make it even more special, as it says here, the first 25 people that order are going to get a signed copy shipped from Search Press. I signed them literally while I was down there last week. So it's a special thing. It's very much a collector's edition. So I hope you're going to support me. Now listen, remember, it's not only going to be this book, but it's all of my books. All of my books have that code on, so you can order any of them. And a very quick whiz, I promise we'll get through to the painting in a minute, but pick these up, getting old now. We've got all my books here that I've done with Search Press, or a collection of them, and these have all got 25% off with that code Matthew25 ordering through Search Press. Watercolour Companion, the legendary Watercolour Companion. This came out last year. This is just a wonderful book. A little pocket guide to watercolours, colour mixing, tips, tricks. Every page is a tip. 25% off that with the code. The Watercolour Mountains, using 3 colours, part of the Take 3 Colours series. 9 paintings, all step by step, all using 3 colours and 3 brushes, which is a lovely little thing. Ready to paint in 30 minutes, Animals. This is a book that's got 32 step by step projects with tracings as well. So you can see the projects that you get in this book, all based around animals, all sort of postcard size, 32 projects with tracing paper. 25% off all of these. Remember that, Matthew25. Watercolour Landscapes for the Absolute Beginner. This is part of the same series. This is a very thick book, nearly 180 pages. This is a beast of a book, this one. Loads of cool stuff, all based around landscapes, this book. Again, 25% off that. Again, you've got the fold-out tracings in the middle. There's one of them, for example. And then finally, my latest book, well, as of not counting the 10th anniversary one, my latest one that we did here was Watercolour Animals. So proud of this one. This is a brand new book, first edition still. This one's got 25% off with the code as well. Loads of step-by-step projects on all about animals. Love the polar bear. Look at the polar bear there. Gorgeous, right? Yeah, great book. Again, part of that series with the tracings that fold out. in the middle, should you want to use those. There's the one of the parrots, for example. Polyunsaturated. There you go. That's what happened when the parrot swam into the washing machine. Nasty business. Took 3 hours to get polyunsaturated. Anywho, 25% off all them, folks, through Search Press. Searchpress.com is the website, I believe. Links in description below. But we're going to put them. We'll put them over there. I'm going to start some painting. It's about bloody time. 10 years anniversary. It's literally released sort of today/tomorrow. Get hold of a copy. First 25 to order. We'll get that special signed copy. 25% off with code that you can see here. 25% off. Matthew 25. First 25 orders get a signed copy. Perfect. Now, you just saw a sneaky flash there, didn't you, of this thing? Now, this is a workshop that I've got to mention it because it flashed up. What was that little sneaky peek? This is the Shambles, photographing the Shambles in York. Inspiration for Diagon Alley in the Harry Potter novels. We're going to do a virtual watercolour workshop of that you can watch live or at any time, taking place this Sunday. There's about 12 spaces left for that workshop, so do get yourself booked into that workshop. If you want to quickly know how to book it, jump on the website, AltW's watercolour.tv. There is a link in the description. And right at the top of the website, there's a big button that says in 2 days, in 20 hours, you can paint along live or anytime, yours to keep forever. You can watch it whenever you like. It's going to be fun, isn't it? This Sunday, that one. Right, let's do some painting, because that's really what you've come in for, right? If I'm being honest. Waffle, and more. Less waffle, more painting. Right, what we've got here, folks, is the sketch. It's going to be a little cottage garden. And I'm taking inspiration from the 10th anniversary book. And if I pop the sketch on the screen for you, that's the actual sketch that I've done. So if you want to take a screen grab of that, you're welcome to. It's going to be a little cottage in a garden. The first thing I want to do is I want to actually do a little bit of masking fluid. I want to protect the area. So I'm going to use my fancy version of masking fluid, which is actually called Mask Away. It's actually called Mask Away. And this is it. So it's Watercolour Magic Mask. It's my own brand of really high quality masking fluid. It's colourful, you can see where you put it. It comes with a free video as well of how to use it. It's heat resistant, it doesn't clog up your brushes. And it comes in a little pack where you can get some special brushes with it as well. You can buy it from Watercolour TV. I'm going to use this to protect a couple of areas. There we go. It's a lovely turquoise colour. And it comes with these little brushes that are made from a special hair that it doesn't cling to. It does if you leave it on there for hours, but you know, it's quite good for protecting. And I want to protect a couple of areas of this actual sketch. Okay, that's the plan. Now do bear with me because we're going to put some paint to paper here, because that's what you've come to see. Yes, we have. So I want to use this little brush here, and we're going to protect the edge of the cottage. Now I love this magic mask. This is only available through Watercolour TV, by the way. It's a secret formula, this. It's a special creation that Mr. Palmer has invented. It's masking fluid for the year 2025, for the future. That's what this is. So I love the fact that you can see where you've put it. And I love the fact that it just makes the whole process nice and easy. So I'm protecting the areas of the cottage. This basically keeps it all nice and clean and crisp. You can actually use a hairdryer with this stuff, which you can't do with normal masking fluid because it turns it to gum. Heat is not good with masking fluid, but you can use hairdryers with this, which is nice. Makes the process a bit easier, don't it? We'll work down the edge of the cottage there. That's all nicely protected. I notice I've not washed the brush yet. You don't really need to with this. Got a little white gate as well. I'm going to put the white gate in. Get that protected. can't go wrong with this, can you? Literally just painting it on. And it's very easy to see it as well, which I like. You can actually see where it's going on, which is quite good. And you can see here what I'm doing is I'm just protecting the edge of the fence, the gate, whatever we decided. It's probably a gate, I think, by the looks of it, but an old rustic white gate in the foreground there. Now I'm going to turn the board around because I want to do the same on the other side. Just give it a bit of a rotation. And we'll sort of do the same, if you like. Just want to make sure we're nicely... So I'm doing the whole fence and gate. I've not washed the brush yet, but that fluid will come off. If I left it on there for 10 minutes, it probably wouldn't come off as easy, but it's just a lot more easier to work with it. It does contain latex, along with other special ingredients. It's a bit like Coca-Cola, this secret formula. And then we've got a little bit that runs through. You can use any brushes with these, but these ones are just made from a material that's more resistant, if you like. There we go, that's looking nice. We'll put all sorts of little random flowers and things on, but that's all nicely protected. And I just want to make sure that things are nice and neat with this fluid, so make sure that we've got a little bit of overhang in the corners and various things. It'll just all protect it nice and easy. And then I'm just going to basically put the lid on. Now a bottle of that, it's a £5 with the brushes, it'll go a long way. That is available from Watercolour TV. And then I can just pick any bits off, and you can wash the brushes. The heads screw on, so you can wash them and get them all nice and clean. And there you go. That's all back to where it should be. It's like a screw-on head. It's quite an unusual brush, really. Okay, that's good. So let's prep some colours then. Let's prep some colours here. And as Alison has mentioned in the live chat, we should say some quick hellos to people that are watching live. If you're watching this after the broadcast, we are doing this as a live celebration of 10 years, of course, with Search Press. Now, we should mention some hellos to people that have dropped comments in on the Matthew Palmer Artist Facebook page. Alison Reddings is with us, and Thomas says, I enjoy the using the mask away. Jackie Reed is with us in the chat. Lots of you are watching live, which is wonderful. So hello, Brian Green is with us in the chat there. Let's have a look who else is with us. I can't see all the messages for some reason today. I don't know why. Just the way they are. But anyway, hello to everybody that is with us live today. And just grab a coffee, sit back for the next 30 minutes or so ish, while we put some paint to paper, because the first thing we're going to do is we are going to paint the background in. We're going to paint the background in. So I just want to take a relatively big brush here and mix a few colours. So I've got this brush, which is a size 10 or a medium Matthew Palmer brush, Super Point. This entire project can be done with primary colours, red, yellow, blue, but I'm using my own branded paints here, natural green, green light, etc. And I'll mention the colours as we progress. So a nice blue sky, so I've got some natural blue there, so we'll take some natural blue, we'll put that there. We want a couple of greens. I'm using these greens, which are natural green and green light. These are available from Watercolour TV, so do make sure that you dive into those. We've got green light, nice and strong for these colours, and green, which is the darker green. So we've got the two greens at hand, should we need them. I also just want to get a little bit of a light colour for the back, like a sandy tinge, and this is natural yellow, which is a sandstone colour, as you can see there, like a sandy stone colour. So that's probably going to be enough to do the job. I'm also going to take some natural grey, which is without a doubt is the most important, and it's the #1 selling colour that we have, because that is a shadow colour through and through. It really is. Okay, so that's one to definitely get a hold of. So that's a bit of preparation. Now, if you need to dry this stuff off, you can do. You can use a heat gun. We'll dive over there. We've got a heat gun or a hairdryer. We're just going to come back with the camera a little bit, just so you can see what we're doing. So I want to give this thing a bit of a blast. A bit like watching paint dry. Nice and dry. And then I'm going to use quite a big brush. Now I'm doing this as a demonstration. It's not a workshop, it's a demo. So I'm going to whiz through it pretty quickly. If you do want to do a watercolour workshop, remember we've got one coming up this weekend. Pretty much every weekend there's a workshop of some kind happening. Now I'm using a big brush here. This is a size 20 or a large super point brush. And the plan of action here is to wet the entire paper. Literally the whole thing goes in, top to bottom. Have you ordered your copy of the new book? This is the official release video celebrating 10 years. Remember, if you're one of the first 25 to order through the links in the description below, you will get an exclusive signed copy as well. That's had a nice coverage, and the masking fluid is doing its job through and through. It's repelling the paint, and you can still clearly see where it is. That makes it really important, you know, that little bit of added colour that we've put in really does make quite a considerable difference to it. Okay, so let's go for the yellow first. I'm gonna pop a little bit of the yellow in, and we'll come a little bit closer in, I think, for this, because we can do that. Of course we can. And size 10 medium super point. Just start to hailstone outside, so if you can hear any funny noises, it's not me. Believe me on the weather. Put a little bit of this warm colour in, just in a few places, like a little twist action, I suppose you could say. Like you sort of move the paint around the page, kind of thing. Clean brush at that point, and we'll go for the blue. Just wipe off the excess on the side with the old palette there. It's always good to give it a tap on tissue when you're working wet into wet. And then we'll get a nice look at that lovely vibrant blue. It's natural blue, this is called. So natural yellow into natural blue. And that'll give us a lovely sort of sky, a sort of summery, slightly overcast sky, which is, you know, I suppose perfect for the old British weather. You know, it's always a bit cloudy, right? 9 times out of 10. Let's just give that a little bit of a nudge. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so that's the blue. Lovely. Right down the back of the building there. It's all going to help. Straight into the greens at this point. Clean the brush. We're going to go for the light green, first of all. Natural green light, that colour is. A lovely lime spring green. A little bit of background. Trees coming in. Over here as well. Look at that. Already making use of the mask, magic mask. Making use of the magic mask, okay? Comes in. And we can bring some of that colour down at the base as well, because I want to get some foliage, some flowers, and all sorts of little bits and bobs around here. So that goes right over the top of the masking fluid. It's repelling the paint. It's doing the job for us, which is exactly what we want it to do. This is what we need it to do. This is where we want to be with it. So it's keeping the paint fresh. What paper am I using? Good question. I'm using my own brand of paper. This is Matthew Palmer's Watercolour Block. Available, again, we keep saying it, on my website, which is right here. So everything that we use in is available here. But if you want to get hold of a book, remember, you want to go into Search Press, which is just a reminder, just at the bottom of the screen. Links in the description below. Let's go for the dark green here. The dark green. What was that little random bridge that popped on the screen there, by the way? It was the painting that we did on Sunday. It was a virtual workshop of Monet's bridge. It just randomly flashed up there. I just kind of clicked the wrong button. If you want to get hold of that, you can buy that online. That's one of the previous workshops. Back to this. Okay. Natural green dark, or the darker green at this point. I'm going to go for some more shadowy base colours. I'm going to get some background trees in. Get some beautiful, really vibrant, strong darks right down in these little bits between the masking fluid and all that stuff. This is all about creating depth. I'm sort of rotating the brush, twisting the brush as I do this, letting the paint mix on the paper. Beautiful way of working here. The more dark that we get down next to this masking fluid, the more we're going to get that character for this one. So definitely one to take your time with, and you can manipulate it as well. It's quite nice how you can manipulate your paint. What I mean by that is you can go back, if you've got a quality paper like we're using here, you can quite easily go back into it again and spend time with it. You can throw it around and tweak it and fiddle it. I'm just going to get a bit of dark in, some grey. I've gone for the grey here now, strong natural grey, beautiful colour for this. Getting really dark in between that masking fluid there, make it all pop forward. Get some dark down the back of the cottage. Just a little bit of a twist here. It's all come out in washing a bit. I'm going to blend it all in a minute. And what I want to do here with this, I want to just refine it all. I'm going to clean the brush, size 10, give it a bit of a pinch through the fingers. It's like a flat kind of brush at this point, and that will allow me to go in and blend in any bits I want to be a little bit softer. So I'm going in, and this also encourages the paint to mix on the paper, so I can encourage the greys to mix with the greens and so on. So really getting some good dark in there. It's important because it'll make that cottage become the focal point. Once all the flowers go in, it'll just work an absolute treat, it really will. So just enjoy, you know, letting your paint spread and becoming part of the picture. It's a good thing to do. And if it's a premium cotton paper like this, there's no excuses. You can spend hours working and manipulating, and it won't cauliflower because it's just nice paper. Look how those shadows are starting to blend a little bit. Now I want to grab the tree and texture brush at this point. I've got the large one here. So this is the original brush that I brought out in 1999, 97, 99, something like that. Matthew Palmer tree and texture brush, beautiful tool for doing shadows and various things. Nice and clean. We're going to use a mixture of the two greens at this point. So the light green and the dark mixed together. Mix your own greens, of course you can, but we're going to be using this one here. And we're going to give it a good old-fashioned squish in the palette. Bit of a tap on tissue. So we've got that lovely spiky brush there, which is ideal for doing a bit of foliage, that kind of thing. Nice and close into this should work quite well. And we can start to do a little bit of, while the paper's a bit damp still, start to put some little bits of trees and things back. So just a little bit of trees at the back, and this of course is helping to give us a bit more foliage here as well. So it's giving texture, it's giving foliage. We can work up the side of the cottage there. We can make sure that we've got that nice bit of depth and so on. Look how that's creating that little bit of a bushy kind of texture. See it quite nice. Get a bit more colour. So really not worrying about dark tones or dark colours. You can almost focus just on one side of a tree like I've done there to get more of a, see the shadow starting to come through there. I always think it's quite nice when you use a tree brush, just before you stop, clean the brush out, squeeze it through your kitchen paper so it's just damp like that. You've got a damp brush basically. It's quite nice to stroke that. And what we'll do there is we'll give it a little bit of a blend out, bit of a soften on the edge, make it just look as though it's kind of part of what's already there. So it's like you're kind of fading out the edges a little bit, you know? You're giving it like a distant sort of effect, feathery effect on the edge. I think it blurs it a little bit, especially those background trees. It gives them a lovely sense of distance, and it just helps everything to look as though it's sort of in the background. There is a smaller version of that brush. This is a medium-sized one. Matthew Palmer Tree and Text brush. The original, everybody's copied this brush. They've been copied by every brush company around the world. Well, certainly in this country. And I can go a little bit darker. Yeah, it's been a well-copied book. If I thought to put a patent on this brush, then that would have been a good idea, wouldn't it, maybe? But this is the original and best. Has anybody got one of these? Let me know in the comments if you've got one. Now that's still a lovely damp piece of paper, and that's all down to the quality of the paper, as I mentioned previously. But what I want to do is I really filled that in, really filled it in with bushes and trees, that kind of thing. What I want to do here, folks, I'm just going to grab the heat gunner from over here, the hairdryer, there it is, and give it a quick blast with the dryer. Maybe this is a good time to re-mention a little bit, just a bit of a friendly reminder that if you do want to pick up a copy of this book, you can use code Matthew25, capital letters Matthew25, via Search Press to get 25% off all of my books. Limited time, that offer, but the first 25 to order the new book, the 10th anniversary one, will get a special collector's edition. A signed copy. They're all collector's edition, but signed copies. Okay, let's come back to this then. So what I want to do next is I'm just going to grab a little plastic card. I've got one here. This is by no means a hotel key card. It's not a hotel key card that found its way into my art bag. And we're going to scrape off a few little branches, just sneaking up. Can you see them little branches? Just a little bit of a, just to give a bit of a texture to the background. So using just the corner of a plastic card. Other hotel chains are also available. A good Premier Ink key card works a treat. You'll get me banned, Palm, you'll get me banned. You put little grasses up at the back of the gate. The paper's just damp, you see, so it's just perfect time to do it. You could use your fingernails for that, that works. Anything goes, right? If you want to be more professional, you could use a palette knife. Having a good scratch at those bushes and trees, and they're effective, that, isn't it? Love that. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with that. Let's come back with the camera. Can't fail. Okie dokie. I'm just going to make sure that is really dry, and then we can look at just getting a little bit of extra shadow in. So I'm just going to use the heat gun again. When I use this on the live stream, the audio cuts out. Like, it's just a bit quiet. Okay, that's all good. That's all dry. Now what I'm going to do here, folks, is I'm going to use, we've been using the medium tree brush, and we use the large one. And we're now going to go down to the small one, because there's actually 4 different sizes, but we're going to go for we're going down for the medium, which we just used with large prior. We're on to the small one, the little baby one. And we're going to use this to put a few shadows and a few things around, which will be quite nice. And that's a good way to add a lovely bit of detail. So we're going to use some natural grey mixed with some of the dark green. So shadows, basically. I'm adding shadows here. Quite strong grey shadows. You can see that colour. It's like a real deep sort of green colour is what I'm using. I'm going to wipe off on the side there. Give it a little bit of a tap. And then what we can do is we can put a little bit of shape and form into some of these trees in a few areas where I would imagine it to have depth. For example, here is a great example. So at the side of the building, we're going to stipple this line of darkness in. That goes right up the side of the... You can see that real strong dark I've added. And that's going to get blended in a minute. Same over here as well on this background tree. Do a little bit up there. It's a bit kind of like negative painting. Down here where these grasses are, a little bit of shadow coming in. We'll blend all this in a second. And then this will be nice to put some flowers in, you see. And then one down here. And then what we'll do here is we'll clean the brush. Let's just get one down there as well. Okay, so what we'll do now, we've put these real ugly looking darks in. You said it, clean the brush. And then on the tissue, so you've got a damp brush. And what you do is you stipple over the top of that dark with the same brush. This is a small tree brush here. And what that's going to do is it's going to blend the paint in. It's going to make it look as though the paint is kind of... Get close in on that camera because you might see it a bit better on there. Move that a little bit to there. So basically I'm blending this in. And it's softening the paint a little bit. And it's making the paint become part of the actual background picture. So it's quite a nice, interesting image. Keep that brush nice and clean. Keep dipping it in the water. Keep tapping it on tissue. And then you can blend it in as much as you want to. That's just put a little bit of extra shadow work into the trees ahead of getting all that beautiful light in. And talking about light, very soon we're going to be taking off that magic mask. But look how those shadows have... You can see the depth in the trees. You can see the form that's hopefully starting to appear there. It's lovely. A really nice way of working. And it's all to do with tree brushes and using the right colours, that kind of thing. I mean, these are the sort of things that you'll learn in the book. You know that. If you picked up one of my books before, you'll know that they're just absolutely action-packed books, and they just don't kind of... They have all the steps and all the tips. And I mean, I've been painting in watercolours since I was, cracky, probably about 10 or 12 years old. So a good 5 or 6 years minimum. I mean, that's over 30 years worth of painting experience. I've been teaching since 1998, 99 when the tree brushes first came out. It's a lot of knowledge. It's a lot of knowledge. And what's gone into this brand new book here is not only everything that was in the first book, everything that was in the first book is in this book, but also new stuff, you know, 10 years worth of new content that I've learned and picked up over that time. It's a great little thing. It's a great thing. You'll enjoy it. You will enjoy the book. Trust me, I'm an artist. Now what we're going to do here is put that tree brush away. We're going to go for the size 6 brush, or in this particular case, it's called the Matthew Palmer Super Point Small. It's a round size 6 brush. And we're going to take some green, whatever green's left, and we're going to do a little bit of foreground, bits of things that are growing up. So we're going to start to do little tall bits of foxgloves, that kind of thing. We're going to put some leaves on, some flowers on this. So do stick with us. Do stick with us, folks. We're going to be stippling and tapping here. We're going to bring in some different colours. We're going to bring in some variations on what we're doing here. Grasses, taps, stipples. So here you can see little bits of... You can get some little leaves and things just creeping up at the back there. Little grasses growing, making something out of the foreground. That's really what I'm interested in doing here, is making the foreground have a little bit more of a vivid nature to it. So I'm just getting ahead of taking out the, I think we'll get some foxgloves down there. That'd be quite nice, wouldn't it? Over this side as well. So little taps and stabs of your brush there, just to give a bit of variation. Starting to fill things up a little bit in the picture. Now remember, if you do enjoy this kind of work, if you want to have a go at painting along with me, not at this speed, the workshops that we do on a Sunday, Saturday or Sunday, are always very much very slow, lots of time to work. We've got one coming up this weekend, remember that. It's on the 16th of March if you're watching this live. On the 13th, it's in 3 days time, and it's going to be at the Shambles in York, inspiration for Diagon Alley in Harry Potter, so that's going to be a lovely one. Should you want to join me for that, paint along, all you need is basic primary colours. You don't need anything fancy. Again, links in the description for everything we're talking about here. So starting to add a bit of interest to the foreground here. I'm going to get some colour in this very soon. Stay with me, folks. It's like watching paint dry, I know, but you'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy it. You can't go wrong. So, little bits of spots and dots around here. Little bits of foliage and grasses and flicks. Random bits of stuff. I could even use some of that dark green that I mixed. That's the one that had the grey in it, if you remember. And almost get like a shadow effect in some of the little bits of foliage in here. So I've put some little bits of dark. This is all done before the masking fluid comes off. It makes sense to do that now before the fluid comes off. So a few little bits of random little bits and pieces happening there. Almost ready to get that fluid off. I'm going to use this colour, which is a alizarin crimson or natural red. I'm going to use some of that. Let me get some fresh from the tube, actually. There we go. Beautiful natural red. A lovely pink crimson colour. Look at that. Lovely, gorgeous colour. Almost got like a... Natural red's almost got like a pink tinge to it, which makes it a little bit more interesting to use. And if we get close into these here, we can do some little foxgloves. So like you put a few dots at the top and then start to come and you get little foxgloves, yeah. Sure look nice, don't they? Especially against the greens, you know? They look lovely against the greens. Because red just complements green massively. It just leaps off the paper, you know. It's quite an important thing to do. I'm just going to put a few little sort of spots and dots of pink around here just to give it a bit of whatever they might be, a bit of clover. I don't know, it doesn't really matter, does it? It just gives a bit of interest and just gives a bit of nice colour around the foreground. And anywhere else you want to put a bit of red, just spot it in. Just give it a little bit of a tap, tap, tap. It'll massively complement what's already there. Having greens and reds, brilliant, really, really effective. So just using the tip of a detail brush like that, just to bring a little bit of interest into play, which is lovely. Excellent. Okay, I think I might just put in one or two more other colours at this point before we get that fluid off. I've got a little bit of natural violet loitering there, so natural violet just in the edge of the palette would be quite nice in here. So just a few little spots and dots of that, because adding these little colourful spots in the foreground will give a lovely interest to the picture. Whatever they might be. And I think I'm ready to give that a dry and then we can get the masking fluid off. Start to work on the main focal point. I guess it's probably useful to bring in a brush like this, Matthew Palmer's Branch and Detail brush, and take a little bit of natural brown, not a huge amount. I'm just going to paint in just some background trees really. So if we sort of come into here and just get some little impressions of a few. Branches and twigs. You won't see many, of course, with it being a summery picture, but there's always a few, you know, just to bring in a little bit of, just a bit of interest, just a few branches and various things here and there, just, and even a few little final grasses. And then I think at that stage, I want to give it one last dry before we get the fluid off and start to work on the buildings. We've put a lot of time into surrounding the buildings with greens. So hopefully that's giving that a nice blast with the heat gun that lives over there, well away from the water. Now we can take the fluid off. I'm just going to use my finger to take it off. You could use an eraser, a rubber. That's had 3 or 4 blasts of heat on that and it's still coming off lovely. Nice. A clean canvas of white. I'm just going to use a little rubber just to rub away any little fluffy bits that might still be hanging around. There we go. Come off with very little trouble. And I always think that the first thing to do is just to use that dark green just to sharpen up any edges that you didn't maybe get perfect. I mean, the edge of the cottage for me could be a little bit darker down there now. You can see it once the fluids come off, so I'm just going to put a bit of dark down there. That looks, yeah, that makes it look sharp. And even where the fence is as well, I'd do the same down there. It's going to make sure that's nice and dark down the edge. It just makes things look a bit crisp and clean. Very sort of greetings card style painting, right? I'm just going to put a little bit of dark down at here over the top because I kind of want the fence to disappear at the back of those chunks of bushes. So I'm just going to get a bit of water just to sort of blend that grey over. That's just using a bit of grey paint. That'll give it a bit of shadow. And again, you know, if you need to sharpen up any edges, you've got options. But I think that's looking pretty good. Pretty happy with how that's gone on. Perfect. Okay, right, so let's get on to the building then. So I want to put some shadows in. Now we've got natural grey here. Medium strength of natural grey, size 6 brush, small super point, whatever you use. And the obvious thing to do is to get a lovely shadow coming down here. Now, don't be afraid of painting over windows and things. Right up to top at chimney. After you've been to town. Put that down there. Stick it down there. Put it in there, son. Come on, stick it in. And then what you do, natural grey is lovely. Look at it. Look at it. Clean brush. Just water. A couple of tappy taps. And then literally just use water to give it a blend. Soften it all in. and that'll just disappear into the green. So you've got the shadow. Now that shadow wants to carry through the building. You're always going to get a real strong shadow under the eaves. Very important that you do that. Do that on the chimney as well. But I want to go straight through. Put it through there. Straight through there. Where's your light coming from? Good question. Couple of taps. Feather it. Get it feathered. Have a look at the buildings as you're walking around. Whether it's a dull day, whether it's a gorgeous, beautiful sunshine, there's always going to be a little bit of a dark shadow under the eaves. It's just how it is. Yep, we'll also get a shadow coming down into that side as well. So that's just picked out a little bit of the chimney. The lighter grey that we had, the diluted grey that we had, I kind of feel like I want to get a bit of a cast shadow, almost representing some light that's kind of shining from a tree or something. So it sort of comes down there like that. And then if I get a bit of water, you know, like dappled light, the sun shining through a tree or something, just to give it a little bit of an effect. And that's just using a very diluted grey. So it just helps to make it look as though there's a bit of light shining across from somewhere or something. This here, the gate, using a strong grey. A few interesting shadows to go in that one. The first thing to do is to separate the actual, each sort of fence post, if you like, with a shadow. By darkening the bit that runs behind, a bit of water, just to soften it all in. And what that'll do is that will kind of push that crossbar back a little bit, giving it some interest. And then we'd expect to see a shadow that comes up here, potentially. Slight curve at the top. Clean your brush, couple of tappy taps, 2 taps on tissue. If you're watching at Serge Press, Matthew's been writing books now for almost 11 years, and I think I've got a lot of interesting arty stories. I think we should do a book, Matthew's Adventures in Art. Been around the world with art, experienced the world, and I think we should call it 2 taps on tissue, or maybe 50 Shades of Grey. And get away with calling it, look at that, what a difference. Can we call it 50 Shades of Grey? That'd be a belter, wouldn't it? Would you buy it? Let me know in the comments. Not 50 Shades of Grey. Let's get the roof on and all the little bits in the windows. What a difference that's made. Bringing it out. Okie dokie. We're still at this. We're still going. I'm going to put the roof on. We're going to use like a terracotta orange kind of roof. For this, we could use natural orange. And I'm going to mix it with a little bit of natural brown. Now, again, you can make your own variations of colour here. You can decide, but a nice sort of terracotta roof always looks nice. That sort of orangey colour. I'll put a bit more red into that actually. So it's like a fiery terracotta colour. You can make this all from primary colours if you're being completely honest. It's up to you how far you want to go with the colours. And then we'll go across the ridge tiles of the roof. Beautiful. We'll put some pigeon poo on it as well. You've got to, haven't you? Bit of character. Definitely put a bearded chuff in as well. Now I'm just going to turn the board that way. This will make such a difference putting the roof on, because the fact that we are using an orange colour. I am painting this upside down. Straight across. Leave the occasional little light line. I think it looks nice, especially when you get to that edge where that dark green is. How nice that is, beautiful. That's got character, right? That looks lovely. It just pops off the paper, don't it? We'll get a few orange flowers to balance. Let's get a bit of orange down the edge. Down there, stick it down there. And then we'll also put some little orange chimney pots on. A couple there. Super. I also think what would be quite nice here as well, if we get close into the cottage, just a little hint closer. I also think it'd be nice to get a little bit of orange just coming across the windowsills to balance things up a little bit, you know? A lintel there. Big difference, right? Huge difference. Now, what I'd like to do with that is I'd like to do a couple of things. So I'm just going to wipe off a bit of this colour. Dilute that colour down. So I've got a very pale version of the same terracotta, like extremely watery. Throwing the brush on the floor is not a good idea when you're in the middle of a live demo. But luckily we've got a backup brush. There's always a backup brush. Think of everything. I'm just going to put a little bit of some like pale little kind of just a very weak impression of some stonework, which you often see, you know, like that slightly off-white colour that you'd imagine a white cottage would be. And what it'll do is it'll just add a little bit of colour and a bit of texture. So it's a rendered building, obviously, you know, it's a building that's covered in white paint, but you're going to see, aren't you, you're going to see colours and you're going to see a bit of texture. And adding a little bit of that, adding this very watered colour, to me is a no-brainer. I also think as well, in the white gate here, just a little skim of it, just to take away that solid sort of new pair of trainers, from let's just have the teeth whitened, and cowl kind of vibe. So you've got that kind of little bit of a slight rusty orange colour, which is a good thing to have here. While we're close in, if I've just picked up some strong grey, get a little bit of a bolt hole or something. It sort of holds it all together. I'll do another one down there. Just some little dots. Beautiful brush there. It's a super point brush, small, which is actually a size 6 brush. It's hard, but very pointy. So that's got the little ridge to it now. You can see all the bits of detail. And the thing is, you know, if you've got a bit of dry brush or something here, which is tapping off the excess on tissue, what you could do is you could quite happily just skim over the edge of the picture there, which is really nice, really effective, successful way to work. Looks good, don't it? It's really starting to pull together nice, this. It's coming together well, folks. Thanks for sticking around for this. We're almost ready to get into that building, into putting those juicy bits of detail. But look, we've had a spurging people watching over the past kind of few minutes or so. So let's just have a minute. Let's have a little bit of a sip of something that we can't show what it is on camera. And let's just talk about what we did at the beginning, because we are here to mention, we're going to finish this off very soon. It's really coming together nice, the picture. But we're going to talk a little bit again about the reason we're doing this demo. We're doing it to talk about this book. It was my first book that I'd published. And let me tell you the history of this book. How did I get my first publishing deal? Let's talk about that. That's interesting, right? So I actually, in the late 90s into the 2000s, I used to teach local art groups to me in Derbyshire, Nottinghamshire, Yorkshire. And I used to be a graphic designer. My trade at that time was graphic design and filmography and photography. And I wrote my own book, and I printed my own book basically on a little printer in the corner of the bedroom kind of thing. And I used to sell this book at my little art classes for like sort of £9 a copy way back then. As a result of that little book, that led into me getting my first publishing deal. And we started working on this in 2013. And it was that long to get this to market. So Watercolour for the Absolute Beginner, it's been reprinted around the world in dozens of different languages. And rather than let the book just go away, we decided, I got approached by Search Press to bring in a redesign and add about 40 to 50% new content as well. The book is rammed. It's got new stuff in it, folks. Let's look at them side by side. And it's literally available for delivery now. If you go onto Search Press's website, you can pick up a copy of it. All my books, if you use the code Matthew25 capitals, it's on the screen just over there. You can see it just up there. Matthew25. You can pick up a copy of this book and get 25% off this and all of my books on Search Press. All the links are in the description below. And if you're one of the first 25 people to order a copy of the new book, this one here, you will actually also get a signed copy. We've signed the 25 already, and they're ready to be shipped as soon as you get that order. I did it last week, so. Back to this then. Back to this. Let's zoom in close again. And we're going to put some work on the building now. We're going to put some juicy bits of detail on this thing to bring this picture towards those all important last bits of detail. It's made such a pleasing picture. Do stick with us, folks, for the next 10 minutes while we finish this off. We've got a real strong grey here for the windows. I'm going to put that in next. A good, juicy, strong grey. And we'll keep this as simple as we can. So the plan of action here is to paint in the windows nice and dark. Now I'm using a super point brush. It's up to you what brush you use for this kind of work. Everybody's got their own favourite brush for detail. This is my particular one. You can of course buy this brush on the website. We do sell them. They're just a lovely pointy brush. That sort of all disappears into the vinaigrette. And it allows me to put a bit of detail in. Into these windows. I was thinking that when you put windows on a building, it brings the whole thing alive, don't it? You know, it just gives it a bit of presence. And then we're going to do a little bit of a dark surround to the windows. They do look quite nice when they've got those dark edges. You get the occasional, if we zoom and get a bit closer in again, you get the occasional little bit of kind of little sort of raised stone every so often. You know, you've seen them. Painted in black. It's all black. Do you remember the Fast Show? Paul Whitehouse, that artist. And then here we're going to put the doorway as though it's open. Because if you lived here, you'd have your door open, wouldn't you? You would. You'd leave the key in at night, help yourself to the fridge. You would. It's inviting. It's inviting. Bit of water. If you blend that down, looks so they can pop inside there for a sneaky coffee. Bit of a doorway. Again, just that little bit of a occasional little bit of dark brickwork, and then even just a little bit on the roof as well, just to take away that kind of clean look to the roof. Turn it over, tricky bit. What we can do is just bring in a little bit of a bit of texture. Tip roof, bit of texture tip roof. Up there as well, look at that, beautiful. Even a little line across the chimney, pushing the boat out here, look. There you go. So that's quite a nice looking cottage. Nice and dark in the corner. I just want to get a couple little bits of extra things on the fence here. Now, if you're on the fence about this, you can. Yeah. It's been a long week. What we can do is we can just bring in some little bits of detail to this. You know, like little bits of wood grain kind of thing. Even across there as well, you'd see a hint of that, I imagine. You know, just give it a bit of sort of spit and polish. It works quite well, don't it? I'm just going to use a bit of a grey, just to get a couple of little grey stones in the cottage there. Just a couple of little hints of grey, just here and there, just to help it all put a shadow underneath the windows as well. Beautiful. Is it windows or is it apple? I'm never sure. What we'll do is we'll come down there and we'll put the little recess inside. That'll make it look as though you can see inside the cottage. And then what's missing from this is flowers. I think it just wants some colour. It wants some white flowers. I've got my own white paint, Matthew Palmer's Natural White. It's beautiful stuff. You will thoroughly enjoy using it. I tend to put the white on a scrap piece of paper, or in this case I'm going to use a scrap piece of tissue, because it's better to leave it in the palette. So this lovely opaque white is watercolour. It's watercolour white, so it's really good for this. Really good for this. Now just using a bit of water, just to kind of put a bit of white on. I think it'll really enhance the picture, this little bit of white. I think it'll really bring it out. It'll give some lovely coloured little bits of detail just here and there, just working around the picture. Little flowers, little bits of light. Don't be afraid of using a good strong white paint here. You could use gouache, you could use acrylic. I'm using my own white. It is a watercolour white, so it's very, very, very opaque and very easy to use as well. It doesn't fade. And if we get really close in, I mean, you'll see what a difference this is going to make. This is going to change it. This is going to change the whole thing. To imagine this. And the great thing about white, of course, you can mix it with other colours. So you could have some pink here and things like that. So it wouldn't be a major issue if you brought in any other colours to it. It'd work quite well. Little bits around the base of the gate. It's really effective, really effective. I might just even pop a few little hints of white just in the wall. You see them? Just right on the edge of the wall there, just so there's a bit of light on there. Just a light little flick of white on the edge of the fence there. Optional, of course. What a difference that's made. What a huge difference. You can see there, can't you? I'm just like putting little bits of white on the edges of the little fences, so it really brings it out. Beautiful thing to do. And again, it's just using a lovely opaque white colour, just to brighten things up a little bit. Almost like negative painting style, almost. Beautiful. Can't go wrong, can you? What you could do, as mentioned, is you could take a bit of red, put that with the white, so you get a bit of a pink. Gorgeous. So if you want to get any extra little bits, like any opaque little sort of foxgloves or something, then you've got options to bring that in. See there? A little bit of pink. But because I've mixed it with white watercolour, not something you want to do with acrylic, it's obviously going to stay there, and it's going to mix with it, which is a really nice thing to do. Just want something here. I just feel it's a little bit flat there, so I'm just going to dilute that down a bit, that pinky sort of white colour. Make it a bit more, make it a bit brighter, basically, a bit less vivid. And I think it just wants a little bit of some sort of little white / pink flowers just creeping down there, because I think it'll just break that up nicely. A few white ones just. This would make a lovely little greetings card. And just to give a bit of balance to the picture as opposed to the force, what I want to do here is just at the back here, just get a lovely little impression of a distant gate just coming through. Something like that, you know. It's just somewhere to travel to. Look at that, what a little lovely little finishing touch to that watercolor picture. Really pleased how that picture has come together. And of course a picture like this will look lovely with a nice signature. Now I tend to use just a little, somewhere around the studio, wherever it may be. There we go, a little waterproof pen for this. You've got to use watercolor. And thanks for watching, folks. That's been a nice one to do today. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure to work on that picture. I suppose the only thing missing is a couple of bearded chuffs right in the sky. So we'll put some bearded chuffs in the sky. And I think we have. I'm just going to put a couple of green dots over there, just to add a bit of something at the back. I think we've got a lovely little painting now. I think I'm happy. I'm fiddling, but I'm happy what we've achieved. We've created something special there, folks. And I hope I've really tried to put that little bit of extra effort into this, and mainly because it's just that little special. It feels like something special for me. It possibly doesn't for you, but for me it feels special because I've been working with Search Press for well over 10 years, and we've just released the 10th anniversary book. Do make sure you pick up a copy. Remember to use the code Matthew 25, Matthew 25. That code does expire soon. That's through the links in the description. That's through ordering through Search Press. That'll give you 25% off all of my books, including the brand new one. And the first 25 people will get a lovely little discount as well. You're going to get a discount on your book, 25%, but also the first 25 people will get a special signed copy. If you've not already picked yours up, then you probably should. Something else I'd like to mention before we go, if that's okay. So do stick around for this, because this is a bit of a a promotion that was running yesterday. I did a live watercolour demo on Facebook yesterday. Do check it out. And that was with the craft store, and we had a discount on, and I think the discount is still valid until midnight on the 15th. And what it basically is it'll appear at the bottom of the screen just here, but this is a Watercolour TV discount. This is not the Search Press 25% off. So if you want to get hold of any of the materials we've been using here, the tree brushes, the super points, the paints, the greens, the paper, the special mask away with the free video, you can go to watercolour.tv and you can use a code which is Craft Store. You'll see it appear on the bottom of the screen around sort of here. It's Craft Store with no space, CRAFTSTORE. Craft Store. Just pop it in and it'll make you it'll make you 10% off everything on Watercolour TV. That code is only valid until midnight on the 15th, so certainly one to have a little look at, folks. There it is, Craft Store, so why not? So everything that's on the website. You might want to have a go at the workshop that's coming up on Sunday. You can see the information here. So on the second, in 2 days, 19 hours and 30 minutes, you can press that rather large big button at the top of the screen, and you can basically book the workshop, the shambles. We've only got about 12-13 spaces left for that one. Sunday the 16th of March 2025. Paint the famous shambles in York. Inspiration for Diagon Alley and Harry Potter. That's a workshop, a step-by-step workshop that allows you to just have basic primary colours, and with that code Craft Store as well, you can actually get your 10% off. So why not? It makes it even cheaper. Primary colours, you need some red, yellow, blue, and you want 3 brushes for that workshop, so why not, folks? But listen, thank you so much. Let's leave you in the company of this, because that's been a pleasure to work on today. I thoroughly enjoyed doing that. I hope you've enjoyed the painting. It's got a lovely level of detail, and I'm really pleased it's made a pretty little scene. And take care. I will see you very soon. And a big thank you to Hannah at Search Press for putting this together. Bye for now.